To be thinking about breathing into the rib cage. A lot of people, when they're stressed, tend to breathe up here. So you'll see, you'll get this breathing where the shoulders rise up and down. So that's normally quite stressed, shallow breathing going on. Just notice my shoulders are wonky, so I'm correcting myself. So we don't want to be breathing up into the chest and into the shoulders. These are the secondary respiratory muscles. Instead, we want to be trying to breathe more into the rib cage. When you think about breathing using your diaphragm, we want the ribs to be moving out to the side. We also want the tummy to be expanding. We want the back to be expanding. So if you take your hands and you just place them on your rib cage, I've got my thumbs around the side and my fingers on the front, and take a nice big deep breath in. Think about those ribs expanding out to the side. And then as you breathe in, they're just coming back towards each other. So you breathe in, expand, and as you breathe out, fingers come together, ribs come down. Now we're trying to do this without too much movement up in the chest and up in the shoulders. So we're thinking about breathing in, pushing into your hands. A really nice little trick you can do is to actually apply some pressure here. So you take your breath in, and then as you breathe out, I'm actually going to push my hands closer in. So I'm applying some pressure on my ribs. Then when I breathe in again, I have to work quite hard pushing against my hands. So again, I'm just going to put that pressure on now, almost like I'm squashing my ribs in towards each other. That just makes my diaphragm work a little bit harder. So now when I take my hands away, I feel like I've got more space and more movement in here. So that's the first thing, is think about breathing into your rib cage. The second thing is think about letting go of your tummy. So a lot of people, when I meet them and they're breathing, I'm going to put my hands back here, but their tummy is not expanding, they're sucking their tummy in. So right now, if I take a breath in, I'm drawing my tummy in. Whereas if I take a nice big inhale, you can see now my tummy is poked out. And I guess as ladies, we quite often don't want our tummies to poke out. But actually, in terms of breathing, we do. We want to let go of these muscles. If you're continually contracting a muscle and never letting go of it, you're not going to get the full range of movement and strengthening that you can. So I'm just going to come down to lying. So again, lying down, I want to be thinking the ribs are moving, the tummy is expanding, and also the back. So lying down, you can get this idea of the back expanding and pushing into the mat or whatever it is you're lying on. So take a lie down, have a little go. So we've got hands just on the ribs, thinking about these ribs moving out to the side, tummy expanding, back expanding, and then breathing out. The last thing I want you to think about is your pelvis. So this air, when we take a breath in, doesn't just go into the tummy, it actually goes down into the pelvis, which is a slightly odd thought if you've never done this kind of type of breathing before. By the way, this is just how we should be breathing, full stop. It's nothing particularly new, it's just we don't do it. So you want the breath to be coming all the way down into the pelvis, because there's not a lot in the pelvis, okay? So air can get down in there. So you're taking this breath in, expanding, expanding, expanding. Breath goes down into the pelvis. You might feel the pelvic floor relax, and then you're breathing out. So take a couple of nice big breaths in and out. See if you can feel the pelvic floor actually relax and lengthen and lower as you take that breath in. And then the next thing to add in is thinking about that out breath. So we're going to do a couple more breaths in. Remembering it's not up here, so maybe one hand on tummy, one hand on chest. Feel the tummy expand. Then also take a hand just underneath your lower back and see, can you feel your lower back pushing into your hand? I find that harder because my lower back's a little bit tight from carrying children. And then we want to be thinking about pelvis. So as we're breathing out, we're going to get the pelvic floor engaged. So we take a big breath in. It's like you're blowing up a balloon, expanding that balloon. So we've got all that air there. And then as you breathe out, you want to be emptying the balloon from the bottom upwards. Okay, so it's emptying from the pelvis upwards. So it's a big breath in, expand, 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 breathing out, trying to empty from the bottom upwards. Take another breath in, breathing out, expel the air from the bottom upwards. Now, if you're finding that hard, one way I find really helps is to breathe out for longer. So take a breath in, breathe out for the count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then take a breath in. Suddenly you'll find you can get more air in. And as you take that extra long breath out, you tend to feel things happening. So on that out breath, you want to try and see if you can feel this tightening going on in your pelvic floor and your lower abdominals also kicking in. So it's this big breath in and down, and then breathing out, expelling the air, seeing can you get that little contraction in your pelvic floor and that little engagement in the abdominals. So this type of breathing is great for your core, it's great for your pelvic floor, it's great for any problems that you might have in terms of abdominal separation. I would say if you're postnatal, you want to be spending some time every day doing this kind of breathing. It's great for everybody though. So they're saying that deep breathing is good in terms of mental health, diabetes, all kinds of conditions. So practicing 10 minutes a day of deep breathing, fabulous thing to do. The other thing to think about is your posture. So if you are somebody that is breathing, but you're finding your back feels tight or you just can't get that full expansion, then it could be that your posture is funny. So if you were up like this, you're not going to get as much air coming into your back. And if you were tilted around like here, again, you're not going to get as much air coming into the front. So posture is again key, which is why practicing this lying down is a good thing to do. Because if you're lying down and you're already in that neutral position, you're going to have more chance of getting that air coming into the right places. So my top tip today for you is get practicing your breathing. 10 minutes a day for a couple of weeks and then see the difference.